the courage to have difficult conversations with our loved ones without procrastinating. It's hard. It's hard because we want them to keep loving us. And when we have difficult conversations, there's always this fear. Well, if I say this, how will they take it? And that's why we have to be very careful about the way in which we have these conversations. We must have them, but you want to have them at a time in which you're not pressured for time, a time in which you both are calm, at peace. So you don't want to have the difficult conversation when you are in the throes of anger or pain. In those moments, you want to just do whatever you need to do to come back to center. The actual conversations should be had later on. You're angry at someone, you need to tell them, okay, but just wait till you're no longer angry to tell them that you were angry. Puja Swamiji frequently counsels married couples and families, and one of the really beautiful teachings that I've heard him give a lot is pick one day a week, a certain number of hours on that day, that's your fighting time. So Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Okay? You know, 10 a.m. Sundays is when we have all this. Which means that if you're angry on Tuesday evening, you wait. You just wait. And the beautiful thing about that is, sometimes there really are things that really are important and that need to be discussed, and we bring them up. But so frequently, that which upset you on Tuesday evening, by the time it's Sunday morning, you're like, it was nothing. So the first piece is make sure that you're not having the difficult discussion when you are emotionally triggered. You want to wait to have it until you are calm and grounded. You also want to choose your words very carefully. And a really good rule of thumb is use the word I a lot. Use the word you as infrequently as possible. So you don't want to say things like, you make me angry. Because no one actually can make you angry. We're opening the door to a solution. So you want to go in and you want to say, when these sorts of situations arise, not when you, but when this situation arises, I feel like this. That makes me feel pain. And if you've never had a conversation like that, it's good to kind of think in advance about how you're going to say that. Because ultimately the end result of these conversations is we want our relationship to be deeper and better. And so we need to go into it keeping the ultimate goal in mind, which is this relationship should be deeper, better, more and more love. Which means I actually want to solve it. Not just blame you and get, an apology. I want to go deeper with you in it. If all you need is an apology, then go into it and say, by the way, I seem to have this really stuck thing in my mind. Been holding on to it for 5 days. Would you do me a favor? Just say you're sorry and then we can have brunch. But if really what you want is change, then you've got to go into it in a way that isn't accusing, that isn't blaming, that's taking full responsibility for your own emotions, for your own feeling states. And you share them. And the other really good thing to think about is we don't necessarily have to have the entire conversation at once. So sometimes it may work to say, when these situations happen, this is how I feel. This is what's happening for me. And then to give the other person some time to think about it. Because when someone we love has just basically told us, even though they've said it the right way, we understand what they're saying is we make them angry, we hurt them, somehow there is something wrong about us, most of us react. And so a lot of times, if it's really a difficult situation, it's good to plan in advance that you're going to kind of do a part 1 and a part 2. So you begin it with just, I would like to just share with you. And then I would like if we could take some time and you can just think about it. And then maybe this evening or maybe tomorrow, you could come back and share how all of that lands for you. And the other piece of advice that I would give is try to be physically touching when you have the discussion. There's something about energetically being physically touching each other that just reminds you, whether you're sitting next to each other and it's just, the edges of your thighs are touching, whether you're holding hands, whether you're sitting in each other's lap, whatever it may be. But try to be physically touching. Don't sit at the dinner table at opposite ends of a dinner table or opposite ends of a desk. Because ultimately you're loved ones, you're one. And that's the core of what needs to maintain the relationship. And in terms of the actual courage to do it, realize that you're not serving anybody by not having the discussions. Sometimes you are. Sometimes things are little, and ultimately if you can just let it go, so let it go. If you really can let it go, fantastic, nothing like it. Be like Ganga, just let it go. But if you can't let it go, and so you're just suppressing it and repressing it inside, then it's festering inside you, and it's actually creating distance between you and that person. And so that's when you need to have the courage, because you want to protect the relationship. So yeah, if you can really let it go, beautiful. Just realize whatever they're doing, they're not trying to hurt me. Just anchor back in love. But if it does really need to be talked about, then you need to have the courage to know that you're going to a better place, a deeper place, a closer place. Have you ever had a person you love in the world? Yeah? I don't mean romantic love. I mean anybody you love. Yes. Okay. Good. Now, think about that person you love. Okay? You don't even have to tell me who it is. Just think about that person you love. Now, think about what you love about them. Is it their elbow? When you love someone really deeply, think about what you love about them the most, okay? Is it their elbow? Right? No, that would be silly. Is it their knee? No? Is it their nose? No? So what is it? What do you love the most about the person you love?
Nature.
Hmm?
Nature.
Their nature. Their nature. Okay, beautiful. Now, think about that nature of the person, okay? Now, everyone sometimes has bad moods, right? Everyone sometimes goes to sleep. So there are some times when they're not necessarily talking to you in a nice, loving way. Maybe just because they're sleeping. Or maybe because they're having a bad mood, a bad day. Right? So if you went deeper than their nature, because their nature sometimes might get a little cranky. Every once in a while, it happens to all of us. Right? So you love them even when they're in a bad mood, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then what is it that you love? Even when their nature is kind of not so good that day, what do you love about them?
The way they love us.
The way they love you? Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. And tell me about how they love you.
Unconditionally.
They love you unconditionally. So what about you do they love? Is it your elbow? Your knee? So what is it they love of you?
Me.
You. Who?
Person I am.
Great. Now, how long have they loved you?
Forever.
Forever. And how old are you?
13.
13. So who you are, I bet it has changed a lot in 13 years. I bet the way you were when you were 3 or 4 is very different than the way you are when you're 13, right? But they love you unconditionally, who you are. So that who you are, from 3 to 13, what is it that is the same? Because how you act is different. How you look is different. What you like to do is different. What is the same? From 3 to 13, what is the same in you? Think about it. What is it that's the same? Any ideas? Because when you were 3, you were saying I, right? I, that's mine. Me, I. And now you still say I. So that I has stayed the same. So who is that I? Who is that? Okay, no problem. Hold the thought. We're going to come back to it. So the person you love loves that I, which isn't the body, which isn't how I act, which isn't how I speak. And you love them even when their nature is bad. You love what's deeper than nature. Think about it. What do you actually love in them? Even when their nature is having a bad day. What is it of them that you love? Okay. So I'm going to give you some words. You tell me if that sounds right. Okay? Do you love their essence? Yeah? Is that the word?
Yeah.
Like the essence of who they are, right? That core essence. Good mood, bad mood, doesn't matter. Right? That essence of who they are. Now, their body keeps changing. Their mood keeps changing. Their actions keep changing, but you love that essence of who they are that never changes. So you know what that is? That's what we call soul, or spirit, or essence. It's that which is not the body, not the actions, not the place I am in this world. It's that which is the same, whether I'm in a good mood, a bad mood, this body, that body, right? Now, their soul and their spirit are one with God. That soul, that spirit, is actually one with God. When we say that God lives in us, well, the way that God lives in us is when we become aware of the soul, then we become aware that that soul of us is a reflection of God, exactly. So what you are really loving in them is God. If you can love them unconditionally, if you only love them when they give you what you want, no, right? You really love them unconditionally,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So what you're loving in them is God. Now, have you ever loved a pet? Or, well, that's okay. Have you ever hugged a tree?
Yes.
Have you ever hugged a tree?
Yes, I do.
What does it feel like to hug a tree? Very comforting. Why do you think it feels so comforting to hug a tree? A tree doesn't even have arms. Why do you think it feels so comforting? Because I love hugging trees, by the way. It's one of my favorite things to do. Because when we hug trees, we connect with that presence in the universe, that energetic presence in the universe. The tree doesn't speak to us, doesn't even reach out and embrace us, doesn't tell you I love you. But we feel it. We feel that presence of the universe, which is why we are comforted. Because we feel that presence. That's the divine. That's God in the tree that you are feeling. When you feel comforted hugging a tree, it's because you feel that presence of God in you, connected to you. So don't worry about chanting. But just as you love people in this world, what I want you to do is I want you to think all the time about loving their essence. Whenever you love someone, just think in your mind about how much you love their essence. Because their essence is God. And as you love their essence, you will connect deeper and deeper. Because if you can love someone even when they're yelling at you, or you can love someone even when they're not doing what you want, then you're really connecting to them on a very deep soul-to-soul level. And that's connecting to God. So start there. Start there. And at the same time that you do that, we circle back to our first question about what it is in you that they love unconditionally. Well, that's your soul. That's the soul in you, because your body keeps changing. Surely they don't love every single action you do. Right? I mean, surely they don't love it when your clothes are all over the floor or you broke something. But what they love is your essence, your divine heart, your soul. And so what you should realize when you feel loved by them is that that is the presence of the divine in you that is being loved. Does that make sense? Good. So that's the way then that you're gonna connect to God, okay? You don't want to chant, no problem, but feel God in you, feel God in them, and then I'm going to give you one last piece, which is that you should do some family seva, some kind of service. And when you serve, I want you to see and feel the divine in those you are serving. So work with children, work with old people, work with animals, work with trees, work with hungry people, work with sick people, whatever it may be. But as you are serving, whether you're planting trees, serving food, whatever you're doing, I want you to feel that presence of the soul, of the essence, of the tree you're planting, of the person you're feeding or helping in some other way. So then you will connect to the divine in them also. Okay? And that can be your chanting. Even though we know that what we are facing today is the result of the past. And that's just true. I mean, whether you believe in past lives or not, either way, where you are right now is a result of the sum total of decisions you have made, actions you have made in the past of this life, or if you believe in past births, in the past births as well. But that gives us only where we are right now. That brings us up to present moment. Now in the present moment, we have free will to decide what to do. So if in your present moment you are suffering depression and anger, first of all, I wouldn't waste much time trying to understand what from a past birth may have created this. Because to me, the why doesn't matter nearly as much as the, okay, here we are. Now, if you see patterns emerging, you find that something is arising in your life over and over and over again, these are things really worth examining. What is it the universe is trying to teach me? That I keep being given this same situation, this same lesson, over and over. But if it's not that, if it's a, here we are in a state of depression and suffering, don't waste so much time trying to understand why. It's like the first question we had about the person with cancer. Well, the place the brain first goes, why me? Why? What did I eat? What did I think? What medicine did I take? Where was I that there was too much pollution? What genes do I have? But that doesn't actually serve us in any way at all. What serves us is to say, okay, here we are. how can I take this moment and transform it? And so if what you've got in this moment is depression, ask yourself, how can you change that? Now, you may not necessarily be able to change your outer circumstances. Like the person who asked the first question may or may not be able to put their cancer into remission. But regardless of the outer circumstances, we have the power to change how we respond to it, what our experience in those circumstances is. And that's the power you have. So if you've got depression right now, ask yourself, what other choices do I have? What choices do I have? Because depression is just a habit of thought. It's a way of thinking that we get stuck in a rut. And we start to believe that the situation we are in is pervasive, that everything is rotten. So for example, let's say I got fired from my job, therefore I'm depressed. Well, depression says not, God, my boss really hated me. That was no fun. Depression says everything is falling apart. Nothing is working. Everything is collapsing. So the illusion of depression is its pervasiveness and the fact that it will be unending. Depression also believes it will never get better. And this is where it's really important. It's where, cognitive behavioral schools of psychology are rooted in, can I change my cognitive experience in this moment? Yes, I got fired from my job. But everything is not collapsing. Look, this is over here, that's over there, this is here, that. Everything's not collapsing. And you know what? There will be other jobs. And I don't say this to minimize it. This is not the, don't feel bad, dry your tears, repress it, suppress it, drink something, eat something, you'll feel better. Right? It's not the chocolate cake or 6-pack of beer response to depression. It's the real awareness that there are seasons, and there are productive seasons and fallow seasons, and there was a season I was hired and succeeding, and now there's a season I was fired and I'm failing. And it's a season. And all you need to do in this moment is find yourself, your inner self in the midst of this. Because whatever is happening around you, you've got the power to change how you think about it. And this is why, for example, service is one of the greatest antidotes to depression. And I say this not as a spiritual platitude, but really as science. Psychology, neurology. Science is showing us actually that by helping others, something as simple as buying the person in front of you their sandwich. Someone's in front of you in line, or behind you in line. You just, random act of kindness, you just tell the cashier to cover this guy's sandwich. Simple thing, it takes 30 seconds, a couple dollars. Or things that are deeper and more engaged. Start volunteering. Start helping others. Make sandwiches. Give them out to the hungry. Do something that gets you out of yourself. There's a saying in psychology that depression is the belief that I am the piece of profanity starting with the word S, we'll call it junk, at the center of the universe. So it's this twofold experience that I am this piece of junk and that I'm the center of the universe. Meaning that all of the bad things that are happening, that it's all about me. The fact that the store closed just as I got there. The fact that I got fired. The fact that somebody else was selected over me. The fact that my house burned down. This belief that it's all about me. That somehow the universe really has taken the time and energy and interest to conspire against me. And so depression, the antidote to it really is getting out of yourself. It's not about you. Somebody was mean to you? Okay, it's about them. It's not about you. It's their own issues. The house burned down? Okay. These things happen. Not about you. And really getting out of that sense, this is what my life is. This is what it will always be. This is all it is. So get out and serve. Remember how valuable your energy is, your time is, your abilities are. And experience in your meditation that sense within you that even if everything is falling down around you, you don't have to be falling down. Your experience of the self within you is independent. No one can make you upset or make you angry. Take back those reins of your life. Turn on your internal love manufacturing plant. Really. We are the ones who create love. When we love someone, the love is coming from within us. They may be across the world, on a trip to LA, New York, Sydney. But we still feel the love just as strongly in our hearts. It didn't dissipate the farther away they got from us. Meaning what? Meaning the love is in me. So turn it on. Turn it on. Feel love. Practice meditations rooted in love. Put your hands on your heart. Feel it. Feel that energy of your heart and then send it out into the world. Pray for others. Send love to them. And you'll find that the depression lifts. Get connected. Get connected. Connected within yourself. Connected to God. Connected in your community. Get connected. And give into those connections. It's the best antidote to depression.
जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल
राधे राधे
कृष्णा कृष्णा
कृष्ण कृष्ण
कृष्णा
कृष्ण कृष्ण
कृष्णा
राधे कृष्ण
कृष्णा
कृष्ण कृष्ण कृष्ण
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई
दुर्योधन को मेवा त्याग्यो
दुर्योधन को मेवा त्यागो
साग विदुर घर खाई सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई सबसे
ऊंची प्रेम सगाई
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई
ओ हरे रामा
रामा
हरे रामा
रामा
रामा रामा
रामा
हरे हरे ओ हरे रामा
हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे
ओ हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा
कृष्ण
कृष्णा कृष्णा
कृष्ण
हरे हरे ओ
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण
जय मां गंगे
गंगे
जय मां गंगे
गंगे
जय मां गंगे
गंगे
जय मां गंगे ओ जय मां गंगे
जय मां गंगे जय मां गंगे जय मां गंगे
ओ जय मां गंगे
गंगे
जय मां गंगे
गंगे
जय मां गंगे
गंगे
जय मां गंगे ओ जय मां गंगे
जय मां गंगे जय मां गंगे जय मां गंगे
ओ हर हर गंगे हर हर गंगे हर हर गंगे
गंगे
हर हर गंगे ओ हर हर गंगे
हर हर गंगे हर हर गंगे ओ हर हर गंगे
इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता
मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना
इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना हम चले नेक रस्ते पे हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना हम चले नेक रस्ते पे हमसे
भूल कर
जय गंगे माता मैया जय गंगे माता जो नर तुमको ध्याता जो नर मैया जी को ध्याता मनवांछित फल पाता ओम जय गंगे माता। चंद्र सी ज्योत तुम्हारी जल निर्मल आता
ओ मैया जल निर्मल
आता
शरण पड़े जो तेरे शरण पड़े जो तेरे सोनर तर जाता ओम जय गंगे माता।
एक ही बार जो तेरी शरणागति आता
ओ मैया शरणागति
आता
यम के त्रास मिटा कर यम के कष्ट मिटा कर परम गति पाता ओम जय गंगे माता।
मंगलकारी मैया
तू है सुखदाता ओ मैया तू है सुखदाता तेरी गोद में आकर तेरी शरण में आकर मन शांति पाता ओम जय गंगे माता।
आरती माप
तुम्हारी जो जननित गाता मैया प्रेम सहित गाता दास वही असज में भक्त वही असज में मुक्ति को पाता ओम जय गंगे माता ओम जय गंगे माता ओ मैया जय गंगे माता जो नर तुमको ध्याता जो नर मैया जी को ध्याता मनवांछित फल पाता ओम जय गंगे माता जय गंगे माता जय गंगे माता।
त्वमेव माता च पिता
त्वमेव बन्धुश्च
बन्धुश्च
सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल।